Hey, welcome to the podcast Domination Show, where we help you launch, grow, monetize, and dominate the podcasting space. This is a show where we believe that if you can get attention with your podcast, you can influence someone. And if you can influence someone, you can get them to take massive action. And if you can get someone to do that, you, my friend, can dominate. I'm Luis Diaz, your host and founder of Podcast Domination, and I'm your guide. Let's go. Hey, so I know you're probably wondering, why is Luis interrupting his own podcast? Well, guess what? I have a little secret for you. And I'm not going to whisper this entire commercial, but I just wrote a book called How to Get 100,000 Downloads in 100 Days, and I want to give it to you for free. Now, this book is going to be on sale on Amazon probably for about $20 or $30. We'll see. But I want to give it to you for free because you are listening to this episode and this podcast, and I appreciate that very, very dearly. So all you have to do to get a free book, a free copy of my book, a physical book if you're in the US, and if you're in the outside of the US, then I will give you a free Audible book version and a free Kindle or ebook version as well. Okay, so here are the steps. Ready? All you have to do is leave a review in the iTunes store for the podcast. If you think it's worthy of 5 stars, I really appreciate it, but I value honest feedback. So leave a review, screenshot it, and tag me on Instagram. My handle is @LuisRyanDiaz, LuisRyanDiaz. Tag me with the book review, and then I'll DM you, or someone from my team will DM you, to ask for your address. And I will send you a copy of my book, maybe write a little note in there to say thank you, and we'll go from there. So, if that sounds good to you, leave a review, and I'll see you on Instagram. Thanks. Now back to the show. Today we're going to cover something called the Latka method, and I gave it that name because of the guy who created it. His name is Nathan Latka, and he's just a really smart marketer, and I respect that. He's aggressive as hell, which I think is cool too. But his show is called the Top Entrepreneurs Podcast. And the other day, I was listening to him speak on another show called the Social Media Marketing Podcast by Michael Stelzner. Anyways, he was talking about his method of how he launched his show, how he got a bunch of traffic for free, and how it wasn't from any of his own listeners. So these are all new customers, new people. And No, I didn't cover this in my book. I wish I did. I would have gave him 100% credit, though, for sure. But anyways, this is going to be a short episode. I'm not a guy who's going to try and hype this up. I'm just going to say, test it. If it works, great. If it didn't, you probably didn't do it right. Just be honest with you. Anyways, so the Latka method, what the hell is that all about, right? So the Latka method is really a affiliate launch strategy, I would say. So what he did, quite simply, he launched his show, and give some context, in 2016. He's made, last year, I believe, don't quote me on this, but I believe he made over $1 million to $2 million in sponsorship revenue for the show. He took his first $6,000+ check from this show after just a few months of launching his show. Now, granted, it is a daily show, my friends, a daily show. He was paying around $250 per episode. He got his production costs down to $29. And I know I'm going off topic here a bit, but I'm just saying some funny stats, some interesting stuff about his show. So I'm gonna buy his book just to see what he did to get that cost down. I mean, I've taken show costs down when I've taken over new shows from $300 to $63. But I think he's beat mine a little bit better because that's pretty awesome. Anyways, so going back to the Latka method, what the heck is that? So we rewinded it. 2016, he's launching. What he did essentially was he, first of all, recorded a bunch of shows ahead of time. So tip number 1 here today is, if you're going to launch a show, it's a daily show or a show that does at least, let's just say, 3 episodes a week, you want to launch with 20 or more shows, because that will get eaten up really fast. Really, really fast. So he was doing a daily show. He launched with 5 to begin with. So before he launched, he recorded 30 episodes with different founders, entrepreneurs, software CEOs. So to give you some context on his show, it is about the startup space. So he has a lot of tech entrepreneurs there who have launched shows, and they've raised a lot of capital from angel investors and stuff like that. So you may or may not like that stuff. Personally, I find somewhat of a liking to it. It's okay, but it's not my favorite. So he launched with with 5 episodes. Yeah, 5 episodes. He had recorded 30, but what he did was really interesting here. He basically did a little social engineering, which was playing off the fact that people like recognition. They want to be first. They want to be recognized. So he emailed all of the people who he interviewed the week before and said, hey, I'm going to launch with just 5 shows. I'm going to launch with the 5 people who will mail the episode to their list. Those who agree to do that will be in the first 5. Do you want in? Boom. And he got 5 people to mail for him. And this is how he got his initial burst of people, his initial burst of new listeners, new customers, and really took his show, got his show off to the right foot. So, sorry, what does that look like for you? Maybe you've already launched a show. Let's say, how could you use this? Well, you could do a contest, right? You could simply do a giveaway contest and give away, instead of giving away stuff to your listeners, you can give away stuff to the guests. So you can actually record some. What's that? I'm gonna read that in a second. 1 second, Andy. You can actually record some podcast episodes and then do a contest, and then ask the interviewees, hey, winner of whoever sends me the most traffic, give them unique links using Bitly. Whoever sends the most traffic from their list will win X, Y, and Z. Maybe you're a service provider like me. Maybe you can give them a free month of podcasting in exchange for sharing your episode with them, with their lists, right? But if you're launching, I think this is a really good strategy. You interview a lot of people, then you either put together a contest, or B, just say, hey, if you want to be in the first 5, then all you have to do is mail to your list, and I'll put you in the first 5, right? And that is, even if you don't have an email list, even if you don't have a social media following, you can do that, and that is a way to get more listeners, especially off the jump. Now, Nathan did a lot of other really cool things, and I think if you were to model some of the stuff he does, first of all, he's really entertaining, so he's a very high-energy guy. And I think that's one thing in podcasting that, if you are not entertaining, it's going to be hard. I'm not the most entertaining guy, so I stick to more of the info side, right? I teach people stuff because that's where I'm probably better at. But I'm trying to be more entertaining, I guess. Hence the new setting if you're on Facebook Live. But yeah, that is that, my friends. So that's the Latka method. Now, we have a bonus question here from Annie. And I'm going to read it. Why do you think the business and everything evolving around podcasts hasn't started booming so hugely in Europe as it has been in the States? That's a really good question. Typically, from what I've learned and known, I've traveled to England. My mom's English, so I do know some of the culture over there. Their mindset, they're a bit more closed-minded. Not closed-minded. I would say they're a bit more secretive about their stuff, right? Number 1. Number 2, they're typically behind the curve when it comes to trends and everything. At least everything that's big over here in terms of business and marketing. For a couple of years. So I know Europe or England's typically 2 years behind us, and then Europe, mainland Europe, I want to say is even more, 3 or 4 or 5 years actually when it comes to trends and marketing and stuff like that. So I don't really know. I would say it's definitely more of a cultural thing as to why Europe is more behind the States. Americans are much more salesy. We're pushy, and I think Europeans are not they're not pushy, right? They're very, very against being pushy. They don't try to market aggressively. So there are some out there who I know who live in Europe and are podcasters, and they're great podcasters. For one being a former guest, Jan Ilunga. But such a good question. Annie, I will. Annie's the one who asked the question in the Facebook group. I will definitely do more digging on this and give you an answer. But those would be my two guesses. They're culture based. Culture is just more closed-minded, a bit more secretive. So there's less podcasts out there for those people. And also, they're typically always behind the bell curve, behind the curve when it comes to marketing trends. So, and fitness trends, honestly, actually. They're very behind. So anyways, that's my thoughts. Anyways, guys, for Facebook Live, that is it, my friends. I'll catch y'all later. If you're listening to this on the podcast and you haven't gone to the Facebook group, you're leaving tons of stuff on the table, leaving tons of downloads, potential interview spots, potential guest spots, all kinds of stuff you're leaving on the table. So go and get it. It's free. And I'll catch you there. Peace. Hey, what's up? Lewis again, and I get asked this question a lot, so I wanted to answer it here for you in a unique manner. And that question is, Lewis, what exactly do you do? How do you help podcasters? What exactly do you and what does Podcast Domination really help with? Well, instead of me sitting here and telling you all the amazing stuff about us, I thought it'd be fun and interesting for you guys to hear what our clients are saying. So here you go. Please enjoy.
Lewis literally makes my life so much easier. All I have to do is record my content. I don't have to worry about editing it. I don't have to worry about writing show notes. I don't have to create any of my graphics to promote it. He literally does everything for me.
We hired Lewis to kind of help us set up podcasts, for us to put our content out and kind of grow our brand. And all I really have to say, it's been a huge success. It's been really easy. Lewis and his whole team have made the whole process easy, from setting it up originally, which with podcasts is kind of intimidating, and there's a lot of things that if you don't know a lot about the platform, that it's very time consuming. So Lewis made all of that easy.
In the beginning, I'm not gonna lie, I was completely overwhelmed, confused, stressed out, because I went on YouTube trying to figure out how to set up a successful podcast. And actually going on YouTube, I was just bombarded by so much information that I just wanted to give up on the idea. And then I met a good friend of ours that introduced me to Lewis, and we hit it off. And he just said to me, it's really, really simple. I will take care of everything for you. I think what Lewis has done for me is made it seem so painless. He has took my idea and saved me money, he saved me time and energy, and more importantly, he's made my Persistence Factor podcast sound professional.
Well, I hope you enjoyed those sound bites as much as I enjoyed putting them together. If you have any questions about how we can help you grow, launch, or further your podcasting efforts, feel free to reach out to me at Lewis at Podcast Domination, or you can reach out to my team and ask them some questions. Hello at podcastdomination.co. Both are .co. Just make sure that's, keep that in mind. Anyways, I'll see you on the next episode. And until next time, keep dominating.